Hey guys, this is Chase again. We're still not sure what exactly we're going to be calling this channel. I think we're going to stick with the Wild Chase for now. That's just what I'm going to keep calling it until we come up with something better. But once again, we're going to be giving you the weekly outdoor news and updating you on what the upcoming draws are for this upcoming week or the next week after that. Just like to give you guys a quick shout out to our channel, our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is actually called ThreeDudesOutdoors. It's a collaboration between myself and two other guys who you're going to be seeing more videos from on our sister channel, which is actually called ThreeDudesOutdoors. This channel is going to remain primarily just as a, like I said, a weekly update on news. We might start sharing some more content on this channel, but it's mostly going to be news related. The Three Dudes Outdoors channel will be where we primarily upload actual hunting videos, gear reviews. We're not exactly sure. We got a couple things in the pipeline right now that we're working on, but overall we're just trying to make some good content for you guys to stay entertained while we're all waiting for the hunting season. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get right into the stories about this past week. The first story we're going to hit on is actually an update to the goat culling story that I told last week about the Grand Teton National Park. I'm not going to go over the entire story again, but as I mentioned previously, there's a herd of non-indigenous Rocky Mountain goat in the Grand Teton National Park that the park superintendent decided the best course of action was to kill with helicopters. Now, this raised a lot of concern from a lot of people, but the big one, important one being the governor, Governor Gordon. Again, this is in Wyoming, Grand Teton National Park. He sent out a public letter, which was, again, referenced in our last video, to the superintendent asking him to cease the operation. He also apparently shared that letter with the Secretary of the Interior, David Bernhardt, and he actually intervened and called a stand down, not before the operation started, I should say. There actually were 36 goats killed, but overall there were supposed to be roughly 100 in the group killed. Now, I consider this an overall win, not just because I think I have any chance of ever getting one of these goat tags. I think it's more of an overall win for conservationists, and as well as it's really a win for hunters and people who live in Wyoming in general. This is not the first time that this park has announced that they were going to be killing this goat population. And again, everybody agrees that this goat population needs to be killed, but the way they're doing it is going against everybody's unanimous vote within the Department of Game and Fish. And for some reason, they just keep wanting to go forward with this, but they said that they finally do not have further plans to redo another helicopter shooting. So luckily, this one looks like it actually worked out in our favor for this time. So happy story number one. For our second story, there's a new policy gaining support in Congress right now called the American Conservation Enhancement Act, shorthand ACE. It's currently being advocated heavily from Quail Fever, Pheasants Forever, in their government affairs teams. Back in January, the Senate passed ACE with a unanimous vote, and it's currently just awaiting action at the House of Representatives. To tell you what the ACE Act actually entails is that it would provide a package of vital conservation provisions, including reauthorization of up to $60 million annually through fiscal year 2025, and it's actually part of a larger package with the North American Wetlands Conservation Act. So looks like this is going to be going through. It's already passed the Senate with a unanimous vote. It's just waiting action at the House of Representatives. So yet another win for conservation. Our third story is from Vermont, actually. Vermont's Fish and Wildlife has proposed bringing back their moose hunting for the 2020 season in October. Previously in 2019, they issued 0 hunting permits, and in 2018, they did issue 13 permits. However, they were not in a public lottery, and the 13 permits that were issued, I believe, and we'll link the description to all these news stories this time down in the video description. But 5 of the tags were for veterans only. Some were for disabled people, and then I think the rest were all also special cases of some sort. But previously, you have not been able to hunt moose in Vermont. However, in tracking the population, they've determined that the population has become so severe in the northeastern sector that it's actually apparently increasing the tick population to the point where they actually found, according to a Facebook post that they released, 90,000 ticks on one specimen. That's one moose with 90,000 ticks on its bodies. To combat the tick issue, what Vermont Fish and Wildlife is proposing is issuing 55 either sex moose permits in Wildlife Unit E with an estimated harvest of 2 calves, 10 cows, and 21 bulls. Now, we're going to load a picture of their Facebook post, but this has not been confirmed yet. This is just what they have proposed. No word on when it's actually going to be voted in to be in the public draw. But again, it will be proposed for Wildlife Unit E, which is in northeastern Vermont. So this brings us to our last story, which is my favorite story of this week. So I'm sure that anybody who's been hunting in the last couple of years has seen the hunting company known as KUIU. Same founder as the guy who started Sitka. He started a separate company, KUIU, and they make basically the Gucci gear of sheep hunting, goat hunting, high mountain hunting, basically. Well, I didn't know this, but apparently they have a conservation effort that they just launched, and they launched it in a really cool way. So KUIU and customers, and I'll explain what that really means, transplanted 55 Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep from Rocky Mountain Boys Indian Reservation located in Montana to Antelope Island in Utah. The transplant took place from 28 to 30 January, and the KUIU Conservation Director, Brandon Burns, commented that hunting and hands-on conservation are inseparable. The winter 2018 Antelope Island herd actually suffered a catastrophic pneumonia outbreak, and if you follow the Wild Sheep Federation, or really if you just know a thing or two or follow anything about wild sheep, they've had a significant extinction problem in America in the past 100 years, and have just recently started to make it back in significant, not even really significant numbers, but in local populations throughout the Rocky Mountain range, stretching from the border of Canada all the way down to Mexico. One of the big problems that they have, and again, this is why they're trying to kill the goats in the first story, is that they can very easily catch pneumonia, which just wreaks havoc through their herds. What's cool about this is that KUIU was able to transplant these 55 sheep, and this is according to Travis Johnson, the first wildlife conservation project of its kind that was funded entirely through the private sector. That's pretty cool, and that's coming from the Utah Wild Sheep Foundation president. Now, again, this is really cool for quite a few reasons. Not only is it the first, again, completely privately funded transplant of sheep of this kind, but it actually led to the foundation of 3 different herds. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. 2 in North Dakota, yes, and one in Utah. That's just awesome. For some reason, there's just a lot of conservation efforts in the news this week, but I thought that this one was pretty cool, and makes me pretty pretty proud of KUIU. Hopefully KUIU gets some further support for this kind of action, not just in numbers of their sales, but hopefully this spurs other brands to do similar things for conservation. I know I don't personally know of any other company that's done anything of this magnitude before. They didn't just get these sheep through the government. They actually bought each and every one of these sheep, which I don't even know how much that cost, but they bought each of these sheep and then personally paid to get them transported with, let me make sure I get this correct, 16 customers and 34 KUIU volunteers. They worked for KUIU, but they did this completely. This was not just paid for by KUIU. 100% of the proceeds, what was donated to do this through their private sector, is what actually went into this project, and 100% of the proceeds went into the project. There was no profit made from this action at all. This is 100% just for conservation. And again, this is actually marking the launch of KUIU's conservation team. So again, just really happy to wrap up the week with that kind of story. Once again, we're going to end this show with the upcoming draw deadlines, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. So on March 2nd for Wyoming, moose, bighorn sheep, and mountain goat draw ends. For Utah, mule deer, antelope, elk, sheep, moose, and mountain goat ends on March 5th. And then the next upcoming big draw that's ending is in Nevada. It's going to be the mule deer guided draw, and that ends March 9th. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. Make sure you go ahead and talk to your wife and get the funds ready for that one. And good luck out there. Again, southeastern states, mostly just still turkey tags available. I'm waiting to see when South Carolina and other states are going to open up their alligator tags if available. We'll try to keep you guys updated. Hope you guys like the show. Please, if you could, just go ahead and subscribe if you want to continue seeing content like this. Leave us a like if you like the show. And go ahead and comment if you have any suggestions for further news stories, or again, if you have a better idea for the name of the show other than The Wild Chase. Hope to see you guys next week. Have a good one.